There are 5 health examinations you should avoid after the age of 60 that could do more harm than good. Advice for senior health. Did you realize that certain health examinations after the age of 60 may cause more harm than good? The frightening thing is that hardly nobody discusses it. Millions of seniors undergo routine testing each year in the belief that they are remaining safe. However, several of these harmless examinations may actually increase your risk of stroke, cancer, or surgery. Nearly 4 out of 10 medical tests performed on older persons result in needless treatments, problems, or long-term negative effects, according to recent research. Furthermore, most elderly people are unaware that they are being over-assessed. Our list top test is startling. It accounts for 5% of all cancer cases in the United States. The same danger as daily alcohol consumption. You won't see this on a billboard, and your doctor won't mention it in passing. Deep inside the science is the truth. Remain with me. The 5 health examinations you should forego beyond the age of 60 are about to be revealed. The hazards you most likely were unaware of, as well as safer substitutes to safeguard your well-being. You might be surprised by number 2 on our list. Please leave a comment below before we get started. Provide your age, the location from where you are viewing, and whether you have ever had regrets about a test or operation. Do you think seniors are put through too much testing? Every remark is reviewed, and if possible, we offer tailored advice. One is a DEXA scan, or bone density scan. A short, painless bone scan doesn't seem like much at first. The gadget determines how strong your bones are once you sit down and let it do its job. It sounds perfectly innocent, and most seniors think, great, now I can prevent fractures and stay safe. Here's the problem, though. Even when your bones are healthy, these scans frequently reveal decreased bone density after the age of 70. Even though your body may be in great health, the numbers may give the impression that you are in danger. The issue is that many doctors recommend drugs called bisphosphonates to safeguard your bones after the findings are in. In theory, this makes sense, but in practice, these medications can have detrimental effects. Jaw necrosis, a painful and irreversible bone loss in the jaw, affects some persons. Others suffer with persistent heartburn, esophageal discomfort, or even brittle bones that are prone to breaking. This is supported by science. Researchers discovered that bisphosphonates decrease fracture risk by a negligible 0.3% during a 5-year period in a trial, including 1,200 women over 70. However, adverse effects were frequent. Take Rose, a 76-year-old woman who experienced this identical circumstance. To help make it more relatable, she was active, pain-free, and had no history of falls. However, after a bone scan revealed low density, her doctor prescribed bisphosphonates. She experienced excruciating jaw pain and persistent acid reflux within months. She was miserable because she believed she was improving her health, but in reality, the treatment was making her worse. She stopped taking the medicine after consulting a physician and concentrated on natural methods, weightlifting, vitamin D daily, a diet high in calcium, and balance training. She felt better in a matter of months. And without taking any medicine, her bone health was stable. This demonstrates that while the scan itself isn't harmful, using it to promote treatment without providing context can have the opposite effect. For the majority of seniors, strengthening the muscles and bones that support your body is the safer course of action. Over time, fracture risk can be significantly decreased with mild strength training, easy balancing exercises, and enough calcium and vitamin D intake, without the negative effects of severe medications. You can strengthen your bones naturally by doing yoga, modest resistance training, or even walking. Therefore, even while the bone scan appears to be innocuous, it may result in prescription of needless drugs that could cause more harm than good. One of the most effective things you can do to protect yourself after the age of 62 is to understand the true risk while selecting natural, safe alternatives. MRI of the brain for memory loss. Many elderly people who experience slight forgetfulness, sporadic perplexity, or minor memory lapses ultimately have an MRI. It seems like a perfectly logical notion. Before things worsen, let's examine the brain to see whether it's Alzheimer's or dementia. It sounds responsible and intelligent at first, almost like taking charge of your health. Here's the truth, though. The majority of older persons' MRIs simply display typical age-related changes. These may include tiny white matter patches or very little brain atrophy. These alterations typically don't indicate a problem on their own. The issue is that these results may lead to a series of pointless tests, treatments, or follow-ups if they are included in a report. When seniors observe abnormalities or white matter changes, they may become alarmed, believing that their brains are rapidly failing. Just the anxiety itself can have an impact on one's ability to focus, sleep, and general quality of life. This worry is supported by science. In a study of 3,000 patients between the ages of 70 and 85, researchers discovered that while 86% of MRIs revealed some kind of abnormality, just 3% of those patients had illnesses that could be treated. This indicates that the great majority were anxious or upset over a trivial matter. Think of George, 74. To put it into perspective, he began to lose stuff around the house and forget a few names. To be safe, his doctor suggested an MRI. George was instantly alarmed when the scan revealed minor white matter alterations. He believed Alzheimer's was inevitable and that his intellect was fading. However, more thorough cognitive testing revealed his memory was, in fact, typical for his age. He then concentrated on making small lifestyle changes, managing stress, maintaining a healthy diet, getting enough sleep, engaging in social activities, and engaging in regular cerebral exercises like reading and solving puzzles. George's anxiousness subsided, and his memory returned to normal. He understood that he didn't require medicine or invasive operations, and that the presenter's scan didn't define him. The conclusion is that routine MRIs for seniors with moderate forgetfulness may be more detrimental than beneficial. They frequently result in needless anxiety and expensive follow-ups that seldom ever help anyone. Using basic cognitive screening tests is a safer and more intelligent method. These assessments are rapid, efficient, and capable of identifying actual issues without inciting fear. They enable medical professionals to monitor memory alterations over time and take action only in the event that a major problem arises. Focusing on lifestyle, diet, mental stimulation, and social interaction benefits most seniors. Brain health far more than a standard MRI ever could. Seniors may safeguard their peace of mind and mental health, which are vital as we age, by knowing when imaging is actually required and avoiding pointless exams. The third is the heart stress test. When seniors begin to experience moderate weariness, sporadic chest tightness, or simply a general decrease in energy, many are referred for a stress test. It makes logical on paper. The test tracks how your heart reacts while you exercise or after taking certain medications that put stress on your body. Early detection of heart issues is what doctors aim for. Additionally, it seems like the responsible course of action for someone who is concerned about their heart. Here's the catch, though. For seniors over 70, stress testing can be quite deceptive. Up to 40% of tests result in false positives, which means a test may identify an issue that doesn't actually exist. A series of needless treatments, catheterizations, stent implantation, and even bypass surgery may be triggered by that one outcome. These are significant operations. They may result in prolonged hospital stays, hemorrhage, and renal damage from contrast eye. It goes beyond theory. In actual life, these issues arise. For instance, consider 75-year-old Raymond. He told his doctor that he had mild chest pain and felt more exhausted than normal. He underwent a treadmill stress test, the results of which were anomalous. He was having a stent inserted and having his heart catheterized the next thing he knew. Doctors discovered months later that his exhaustion wasn't even due to a cardiac condition. In the meantime, he spent weeks in the hospital recuperating from kidney problems brought on by the dye used during the treatment. Raymond-type stories are not uncommon. They occur significantly more frequently than most people think. Stress tests aren't always negative. Rather, they frequently result in seniors undergoing needless and dangerous interventions. Thankfully, there are easier and safer substitutes. A coronary calcium scan, or a resting electrocardiogram, can test for heart issues in the majority of seniors without carrying a significant risk of consequences. Without putting patients through unnecessary intrusive procedures, these tests are efficient, less taxing on the body, and can provide physicians with sufficient information to make informed judgments. It serves as a reminder that better care isn't always correlated with more testing. Seniors must strike a balance between safety and alertness, concentrating on the tests that actually bring value as opposed to blindly adhering to every standard screening. Seniors can safeguard their health, save needless anxiety, and avoid treatments that could worsen their condition by knowing which cardiac tests are truly necessary and which may cause more harm than good. Selecting the best course of action requires careful consultation with your physician, questioning, and keeping in mind that sometimes less truly is more. Colonoscopy is number 4. In order to check for colon cancer, many seniors are scheduled for a colonoscopy, particularly if they have symptoms or a family history of the disease. On the surface, it makes perfect sense. Colon cancer is a serious condition. Thus, it makes sense to detect it early to safeguard your health. However, the reality is that colonoscopies include some risk, particularly for older adults over 70. Just getting ready might be difficult. Dehydration, lightheadedness, and even renal issues might result from consuming strong laxatives to clear the colon. The preparation alone causes some individuals to become weak or faint. Additionally, the operation involves sedation, which may momentarily impair brain function, particularly in elderly patients. Bleeding, intestinal perforation, and even abnormal heartbeats are dangers associated with the surgery itself. This is supported by studies. Only 2 lives were saved for every 1,000 colonoscopies conducted, according to a study of 1.3 million Medicare patients over 70. However, over 20 elderly people experienced severe consequences. That's a significant disparity, demonstrating that although the surgery can be beneficial in certain situations, it may do more harm than good for many older persons. Examples from real life make this very evident. Consider Dana, who is 73 years old. Although she was symptom-free and in good health overall, her doctor advised a standard colonoscopy as a precaution. A little polyp was discovered during the treatment and removed, but she later experienced a bowel perforation. Dana felt weaker than ever during her weeks in the hospital recuperating, and she regretted a test that, in her case, created more issues than it resolved. What is the safer course of action for the majority of seniors? The Fit Fecal Immunochemical Test is one of the safest, easiest, and most successful non-invasive stool-based diagnostics. They can identify colon cancer or precancerous polyps without endangering your health, and they don't entail invasive treatments or sedation. These substitutes offer seniors the protection they require without the drawbacks of a complete colonoscopy, provided they are paired with a healthy lifestyle, a balanced diet, and frequent checkups with their physician. The most important lesson is that more testing isn't always preferable. It's critical for seniors, particularly those over 70, to balance the advantages of a test against any possible risks. Aging can be made healthier and less stressful by selecting the appropriate screening, posing questions, and taking into account safer alternatives. Seniors may safeguard their health and steer clear of needless medical procedures that could cause more harm than benefit by remaining aware and exercising caution. 5 full body CT scans every year. Although a complete body scan may seem like the best method to detect cancer early, it can really have the opposite effect on elderly people. These scans, which promise peace of mind and the opportunity to identify major illnesses before they begin, are frequently included in executive health packages. It sounds nice on the surface. Without knowing what's happening inside their body, who wouldn't want to know? However, the concerns are frequently disregarded, and the reality is far more nuanced. You are exposed to extremely high radiation levels during whole body scans. 10 to 20 millisieverts, or around 500 chest x-rays, are produced by each scan. That's enormous. Over time, repeated scans may raise the risk of cancer rather than lower it. Furthermore, these scans frequently find innocuous anomalies or microscopic nodules. When anything is discovered to be rounding with frays, it can lead to a series of unnecessary follow-up biopsies or even surgery. There are actual risks associated with these treatments, including infections and life-altering consequences. According to studies, up to 5% of all cancers may be caused by radiation from these scans, which is about the same risk as daily alcohol consumption. Remain with me. As part of his yearly physical, 80-year-old Marcus chose to have a full body scan. A little lung nodule was visible on the imaging, This resulted in a biopsy and a PET scan. Marcus spent 2 months in the hospital, recuperating after a portion of his lung collapsed during the biopsy. After seeking reassurance, he emerged with severe issues that negatively impacted his health and well-being. Unless there is a definite symptom or medical cause, it is safer for elders to avoid wide high radiation scans. It is far safer and as beneficial to combine targeted imaging for particular issues with routine checks with your primary care physician. Instead than pursuing every potential anomaly, it is more effective to pay attention to your health, notice changes, and maintain basic medical follow-ups. Real danger can occasionally be introduced by what appears to be additional protection. Has a whole bodies can ever cross your or a loved one's mind? Leave a comment with your experience. Every story is read by us. Seniors can preserve their independence, prevent difficulties, and stay healthy far into old age by avoiding needless high-risk procedures and concentrating on reasonable evidence-based testing. One of the best choices any senior can make is to choose thorough, educated screening over ostentatious but dangerous examinations. There you have it, then. 5 examinations that, although they can seem beneficial, might be harmful, particularly after the age of 70. Despite its strength, modern medicine is not flawless. Less is more in some situations. Ask yourself, what happens next? If this test yields a result, if the answer is not clear, or the dangers outweigh the benefits. And keep in mind that lifestyle is where true prevention begins. Be active, eat healthily, get enough sleep, and pick your checks carefully. We'd like to hear from you now. Have you or a loved one ever experienced problems as a result of an unwarranted medical test or treatment? What took place? Please leave your thoughts and experiences in the comments section below. Hearing them would be wonderful. Thank you for viewing. Please click the like button if you thought this video was useful. The channel benefits greatly from it. In order to ensure that you never miss any more videos, remember to subscribe and activate the notification bell. I would love to know what you think. So, tell me what you think by leaving a comment below. I'll see you in the next one, and thanks for watching.